It has been a really hot summer. So hot that over 2,000 people have died in Europe already. And we still have at least another month to go. In today's English lesson, we are going to look at a news clip together. They are going to use some very difficult English terms. But don't worry, I am here to help. This English lesson will be great if you are studying for the IELTS or TOEFL exams, or maybe you just want to have better English conversations. If that sounds like a plan to you, please go ahead, hit that like button so other English learners will be able to find the channel. If this is your first time here, go ahead and subscribe so you never miss another English lesson.
Heat waves are notorious as a silent killer.
Everybody is at risk. If you go out without water in the middle of the day to do jogging, have a bike ride, you will probably have severe health problems or even die.
From late June into early July, parts of Europe suffered extreme heat. Temperatures soared above 40 degrees Celsius in some regions.
The first thing we should talk about is what is a heat wave. A heat wave is a long period of very hot weather. Many people died during the heat wave in June. Now, where I live, we sometimes have heat waves. If it's like over 90 degrees Fahrenheit for like 3 days in a row, we call that a heat wave. If you live in a place like Delhi, I just got back from Delhi, India. That's probably just a regular summer day. Notorious is a great word to know in English, and that means famous for something bad. That city is notorious for dangerous heat every summer. And like I said, I just got back from Delhi, and as I was walking on the street, I saw some monkeys. And those monkeys are notorious for taking things out of people's hands. Yeah, those monkeys sometimes steal people's cell phones or maybe something they are eating. Severe. You often hear this with weather, but severe means very serious or dangerous. The heat was so severe that people had to stay inside. And in that picture, it looks like that town has just experienced some severe weather. That tree has been knocked over. Suffered. Suffered. Do you know this verb? It means to feel pain or harm. Thousands of people suffered during the extreme heat. And it looks like the man in the picture might be suffering from some back pain. We will talk more about back pain later on in the English lesson. Hopefully, the pain that man is experiencing is not extreme, but extreme means very strong or intense. Extreme heat can be dangerous, especially for older people. Older people are very vulnerable. We'll talk about vulnerable a little later on. But in English, we also have a type of sports called extreme sports. And in some of these sports, people can get seriously hurt. How about soared? Do you know that verb in English? It means went up very fast. Temperatures soared to over 100 degrees. And in that picture, that bald eagle is soaring high above the trees. I hope this has never happened to you. My stress levels soared when I couldn't find my passport at the airport. Luckily, that has never happened to me, or at least recently. 30 years ago, when I was touring Europe, I did leave my passport on a train in Sweden. And guess what? My stress levels soared when I did that. Let's look at a sentence that describes that picture. The bird soared high above the trees, gliding through the sky.
A new study looked at 12 European cities affected. It estimates that over 10 days, 2,300 people died from heat-related causes. Of those, 1,500 were attributed to climate change from the burning of fossil fuels.
I think now would be a great time to remind you that if you are looking for a speaking partner, I can be that speaking partner. Take a look in the comments section. There is a link. It does cost money, but I am a trained professional. I have been teaching English for over 20 years. I will also record the conversation we have so you can watch it back later to practice again. You will often hear me use the verb study during these English lessons. Maybe you are studying for the IELTS or TOEFL exam, but study can also be a noun. A study is research done to learn more or something. A new study shows that 2,300 people died from the heat. Many people in Europe were affected by the extreme temperatures. Affected is a good verb to know. It means changed or hurt by something. The heat affected millions of people across Europe. And it looks like this river, or maybe this ocean, has been polluted, and that bird is definitely affected by that pollution. Very sad. Estimates. This is a noun. That is the way you pronounce it. Estimates. It is a guess based on information. Estimates say over 2,000 people died in the heat. We also have the verb estimate. It's another way to say a guess, but it is pronounced differently. I will pronounce the noun and the verb like this. The verb, scientists estimate that about 2,000 people died in June. Scientists have an estimate. They believe that 2,000 people died in June.
It estimates that over 10 days, 2,300 people died from heat-related causes. Of those, 1,500 were attributed to climate change from the burning of fossil fuels.
Even without climate change, many places in Europe likely would have experienced a period of hot weather in the past couple of weeks. But climate change has made it significantly hotter than it would have been, which in turn makes it a lot more dangerous.
Next, we have attributed. Not an easy word to say, attributed. Scientists believe that heat attributed to so many deaths. Said to be the cause of something. Many deaths were attributed to the extreme temperatures. She attributed her tiredness to staying up too late. Next, we have climate change. Climate change, long-term changes in weather around the world. Climate change is making heat waves more common. And the way I think of it is that weather changes every day. Climate takes longer to change. I live in a climate where we usually have winters. We often have spring, summer, and fall. The climate of Hawaii is very different. They really don't have winter. Fossil fuels, oil, gas, and coal used for energy. Burning fossil fuels adds to climate change. And just in case you don't know what coal is in English, there is a picture of it. People often burn coal to heat their houses.
Even without climate change, many places in Europe likely would have experienced a period of hot weather in the past couple of weeks. But climate change has made it significantly hotter than it would have been, which in turn makes it a lot more dangerous.
I'm surprised there's not more air conditioning in residential places.
The International Energy Agency estimates only 10 to 20% of European homes are air conditioned, and that means some of the most vulnerable, the elderly, are at higher risk of complication.
Great adjective here, significantly. Significantly, in a big or important way. Temperatures rose significantly during the heat wave. Take a look at this picture right here. It looks like they have significantly damaged their car. Residential. I know we have talked about residential before on this channel. Maybe it's review, but it is related to homes where people live. Many residential areas in Europe had no air conditioning. Yeah, please let me know if you live in Europe. Why don't you have air conditioning? I can't imagine living through summer without air conditioning. The opposite of a residential area would be an industrial area. That is where you would find a lot of factories. People don't live in industrial areas. Vulnerable. Vulnerable. I have mentioned this earlier. I said older people are vulnerable to the heat, and it means easily hurt or at risk. Children and older adults are more vulnerable to the heat. And here in the picture, you can see we have a little baby. It is definitely vulnerable. It could be easily hurt. And the elderly are also vulnerable. If you saw the live lesson I did on my other channel, American English with Brent, we talked about who the elderly are. So maybe this is review for you, but the elderly are older adults, usually over 65. The elderly are often more at risk during heat waves. They are more likely to suffer from complications. Complication. That means something that makes a health problem worse. Heat can cause complications for sick people, but you could also have a complication when you are studying English. Maybe you don't know something, or maybe you are trying to prepare for work. For example, if this person is working on something important and the power or the internet goes out, that would definitely be a complication. There were complications during her surgery, so she had to stay in the hospital a little longer.
Older people are more likely to be living with chronic health conditions or taking medications as well. That actually can also impair our body's mechanisms to actually regulate heat.
Canada isn't free from such deadly heat waves. The Climate Atlas of Canada estimates that by 2050, many Canadian cities will see at least 4 times as many days per year hit 30 degrees Celsius or hotter. Without relief measures like more air conditioning, heat-related deaths will rise.
Estimates range from hundreds of additional deaths to thousands of additional deaths.
With weeks of summer still to come, Europe and Canada can both anticipate more extreme heat. Nicole Mortellero, CBC News, Toronto.
Chronic. Chronic. This is something that happens often. The official definition happens for a long time, not just once. People with chronic diseases are in more danger from the heat. This person could also have chronic back pain. That means their back hurts often. He has chronic back pain, which makes sleeping difficult. To impair. To impair means to hurt or make weaker. Extreme heat can impair your ability to think clearly. And in the picture, it looks like this young boy's sight has been impaired. He might not be able to see as well as other people. How about this sentence? It has nothing to do with this picture. He had several beers at dinner, which impaired his ability to drive. And sometimes you will hear that in English, driving while impaired. That means they were either taking alcohol or drugs before they started driving. Super dangerous, and it's a crime, at least in the United States. Mechanisms. Mechanisms, systems or ways something works. Our bodies have mechanisms to keep us cool. In other words, when we get really warm, we start to sweat. and that helps cool our body down. Teachers use different mechanisms to help students learn. One of the mechanisms that I use that I hope helps you learn is adding pictures for every definition. The air conditioner uses different mechanisms to lower the temperature. It is a hot day out today, and I am so glad that my air conditioner is running. Regulate. Regulate, that means to control or manage. Sweating helps regulate our body temperature. Regulate is the verb, regulations is the noun. Guess what? My air conditioner provides relief on really hot days. Let's talk about what relief is. Help or comfort during a hard time. Fans and cold water can bring relief from heat. He took some medication to get relief for his chronic back pain. And I know we have talked about this before on the channel because I have used this same picture. To anticipate something means to expect or prepare for something. Doctors anticipate more health problems in the summer. Congratulations, you made it to the end of another pretty difficult English lesson. Don't forget, if you are looking for a speaking partner, I can be your speaking partner and I can record it for you so you can watch it over and over to improve your speaking. Right down there is another English lesson about an American dad who moved to Russia and then joined the Russian army. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.